Michelle, are you ready?
I was born ready.
She's an award-winning author, speaker, and podcast host who serves on the National Faith Advisory Council. She supported Donald J. Trump for president before it was cool. From her she shed in her beautiful backyard, this is the Michelle Moore Show.
Trophies have turned to rust. People have let me down. Who can I trust? I found earth's riches, but I lost my own worth. When I hit rock bottom, to whom else could I turn? It's all for nothing if it's not all for you, all for you. I'm merely existing if I'm not existing to worship you. 'Cause kingdoms fall and reigns will end, empires crumble and left in ruins. It's all for nothing if it's not all for you. All for you.
All right, Skater9, happy birthday. I just saw in the chat, it's your birthday. I was cracking up because there's just so much going on in the chat live. It always just cracks me up. But I'm laughing because someone was like, how do I email Godly Granny? And then one of the viewers says, Michelle is Godly Granny. So I'm not really Godly Granny. Godly Granny is somewhat of, I want to say, a figment of my imagination, but of course the company is named that, but it is just how it worked, how it happened. But anyways, so, okay. Lieutenant Mark Taylor is here today. I'm very excited, y'all. We've got so much to talk about. And then also I want to remind you that tomorrow, just in case you didn't know, Steve Jarvis is going to be here. You know, he's the 5th generation farmer. His wife is 5th generation dairy farmer. And then he is also an ex-MAHA member. He left MAHA. We have talked about that here on the show. He's been very open about it. And so leading up to it, then when he did it, we had him back on. And so he's going to be back tomorrow. And boy, does he have a lot to say. And so it's going to be quite the show tomorrow. Going to be always entertaining when he's here. So be sure to, spend some time with us tomorrow as well. All right. So we're going to go on ahead and bring in Lieutenant Mark Taylor. I'm so excited that he's here. We got a lot to go over. I'm very interested in a lot of what we're discussing today. Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you for being here, Mark. How's your dad? Everybody asks, how is your dad doing?
He's doing okay. I appreciate all the prayers. I do have a little bit of a praise report. He did rededicate his life to Christ about a week ago. So thank you for all your prayers, guys. It's much appreciated. So it's mission accomplished in a lot of regards. Let's just put it that way.
That's amazing. I'm so glad to hear that. Okay, so the first thing is there's a little bit of breaking news. And so we have 4 images that we want to show you. So producer Ron, if you will, please. Let's go on ahead and get this up here. So it says this is on Telegram, and it was something that we saw just right before we went live. And so the first part says newly released Epstein documents confirm that an FBI agent deliberately removed a hard drive from the jail's video recording system, wiping all prison footage from the time of Epstein's death. Okay, so this is newly released Epstein documents confirming this. That sounds like a pretty big deal. All right. Image number 2, producer Ron. Okay. So Mark, you're going to have to share this one for me.
So it says the Epstein files show that the FBI under Kash Patel and Dan Bongino internally discussed clear and specific guidance to redact images of former U.S. presidents, a Secretary of State, and other celebrities. There's a shocker.
All right. The third one. All right, Pam Bondi may have personally authorized redactions involving Epstein clients to prevent anti-Semitism from spreading in the United States. What do you take from this, Mark?
Well, I think they're trying to, obviously, we already know where this is headed. They're trying to protect a certain country here. So, this is all going to lead back to a certain country probably. But, at this point, who trusts Pam Bondi? Who trusts anybody from this Trump administration right now at this point? Nobody.
Yeah. All right. Well, and we got something else coming up with some more people from the administration. All right. And then image number 4. Thank you, producer Ron. It says the Pam Bondi Department of Justice has suddenly deleted an 86-page document from the Epstein Files that listed possible co-conspirators in Epstein's crimes. How is she in this position? It is beyond me.
I don't know. You don't even know what to say at this point. You really don't.
Well, I can't say that I'm surprised just because I've been, doing these shows with you for over a year now. And so you've been talking about all 3 of them. We're talking about Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, and Kash Patel when we're talking about the DOJ, the FBI. It's like, what in the world is going on around here?
Yep. Yeah. It just reeks of a cover-up. I mean, it reeks of all of these different things. And here's the problem. You can't sit here and point fingers at these people anymore. I'm not pointing fingers at Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and all these people who are incompetent and refuse to do their job. I'm pointing the finger where the buck starts and stops, and that is the President of the United States. They represent the Trump administration. Trump is the one that's allowing this. Now, whether it's a psyop, I don't care. It's still President Trump. At what point does he pull the trigger and stop protecting these guys, stop sticking up for these guys. Look, they were calling for Kristi Noem's resignation the other day, and he's sticking up for her. I mean, give me a break, man. So,
okay, all right. So, we had some recent releases of Epstein Files, and at the same time, we had Savannah Guthrie, who is NBC Today Show host. Her mother supposedly disappears. And so is there something that is linking the two of them? Let's take a look at this video. It's very interesting.
Why did Savannah Guthrie's mother go missing shortly after the Epstein files were released? No one realized these 3 details reveal the real reason. Just yesterday, Savannah asked the kidnappers in a new video to provide proof that her mother was still alive. However, observant viewers noticed that her husband never appeared, which sparked online discussion. First, Savannah's husband, Michael Feldman, previously served in the Bill Clinton administration. In the newly released Jeffrey Epstein files, Clinton's name appears multiple times. One of Michael's key responsibilities at the time was handling and mitigating the negative fallout connected to Epstein. Second, the timing of the Epstein file release closely overlaps with Nancy's disappearance. Just days after the documents became public, Nancy was forcibly taken from her home. Blood was reportedly left at the scene, while her wallet and phone remained, pointing to a targeted planned abduction rather than a random crime. More importantly, Michael, Savannah's husband, has remained completely out of sight throughout the incident, and the attention surrounding Nancy's disappearance has even overshadowed the Epstein revelations, making it feel less like a coincidence and more like an attempt to divert attention. What do you think?
What do you think?
I think well, the mainstream media is doing it to divert attention, obviously, and I'm not taking away that this may not be real. Okay, don't get me wrong here. If it is a real situation, but the fact is they're using it to pump up the media to get your focus away from what Epstein is. Now, look, this Epstein thing, Michelle, is not going away. You and I both know it's not going away. If it was not a big deal like the president has been making it out to be, because again, whatever his psyop is, whatever he's doing, I'm not making an excuse for him. Okay, at this point, I'm done making excuses. If it was not going away, then why is the UK government literally collapsing before our very eyes over this Epstein stuff? The UK government is literally collapsing as we speak right now because people are leaving in droves over the Epstein affair right now. So if it was such BS, as he puts it, then why is the UK collapsing? The government collapsing? Why?
Good question. All right, let's take a look at what Thomas Massie is now saying about if the Justice Department hides the purported Epstein client list. He's saying that he would read the list out loud publicly.
Good.
And make it public. Producer Ron, do we have a video for that?
I'm ready to do that if the victims want me to. They believe that the best way to get justice is to force the DOJ to release these names. I've already read one name in a committee with the FBI director there. That's Jess Staley. And again, he may or may not be guilty, but he's been accused by these victims, the lawyer tells me. And there are other names. I don't have them in my possession, but if the victims want to give them to me, I've expressed that I'm willing to do that. But again, the best way is to force the DOJ to release those names on those 302 forms.
Yeah. And so, look, I don't know a lot about Thomas Massie, but for someone to say, hey, I'm going to read it. This is what we've been wanting to begin with. Read it. Why are we sitting here and there's no justice and there's no accountability for this stuff is beyond me.
Yeah, reading it's not enough.
Reading is not enough. But at least the names are out there. We can't even get the names.
That's right. Well, I mean, there's some names online, but we don't know that's not confirmed.
Right.
It's not
Confirmed.
necessarily. And so if he were to read the names, and that means we know for sure it's in stone. This is legitimately.
We got to have a foundation by which to launch something, but they're not even giving you the foundation to do anything with.
All right. So I came across a video, and then producer Ron found a part 2 that's very interesting. And the part 2 really, I felt like reminded me of you and what you've been saying about something that was going to come to pass. So I'm going to show the first one. So this is the Epstein Files leaders. This is in Los Angeles over the weekend. They had what was called, it was a billboard. It was a digital billboard. And they had what they're calling pedo bowl. And so instead of the Super Bowl, they're calling it the Pedo Bowl. And it's talking about the people, some of the big names that had the highest mentions in the Epstein files so far. Of course, there's like millions of files, documents more that, and I guess probably emails too, that haven't even been released yet. So I think they're saying like 2, 3, 4 million more. So who knows? But let's take a look at this video. There's no audio to it. So let's take a look, and it's hard to read because it's, it's not landscape, but look at this. So it says Bill Gates has 2,592 mentions. Steve Bannon has 2,901 mentions. Bill Clinton, 1,210 mentions in the Epstein files. Here you see Prince Andrew, Peter Thiel, and Howard Lutnick, by the way, as notable mentions. Then, obviously, producer Ron had to block out a phallic symbol.
Yeah, Dale's gonna tell you.
It's pedowood. I mean,
Yeah.
I asked Ron, I said, I bet you didn't get up this morning thinking you were going to be doing this. But anyway, so we're trying to be a family friendly, show here. All right. Then we end up finding another video. Now, this is the part that, and of course, you and I have been talking about Peter Thiel and all of this anyways. I think it's interesting that Steve Bannon was having so many communications with Epstein. That's very concerning.
Yeah.
He's part of the media. He was part of Trump's administration early on. There's just a lot of stuff there that's like, wow. Okay. But let's go on. So the second video is about President Trump, and let's take a look and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so here's the deal. This says 5,300, so 5,300 mentions that President Trump had in the Epstein files, 35,000 references, and 0 accountability. Now, here's the thing. I just want to say, just because somebody mentions or they have references does not make you guilty of anything.
That's right.
But what got my attention, 2 things: 0 accountability. And then what's the accountability? I'm not necessarily saying that President Trump needs some accountability, but what about all the other people that we have the absolute, the emails, the photos, all the people who have been suing, all of that. But anyways, I personally don't know that I believe that President Trump has done anything nefarious in all of this. Believe you me, if they had a smoking gun, it would have already been 10 years ago, 11 years ago. He'd have never made it into the office. So I just don't see it. But the thing that made me want to play it today, this video, and show it to you is because it reminds me, Mark, of what you've been saying about people who were going to get mad, and there's going to be a point where there's going to be a boiling over.
Yep.
This made me think of that.
Yeah. So let me interpret this the way I interpret this. Okay. They're not saying that Trump is guilty of anything nefarious here. What they're saying is, I think there's 53 or 35,000 references total of all of this stuff that's going on that he's not doing anything about. And that's what I think they're referencing to here too, because people are getting sick and tired of, because they feel like he's protecting these guys. So, and to back that up, let's go back about, was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we had the incident where he was at the factory tour. And the guy said, hey, pedo protector. He called him a pedo protector, and he flipped him a bird, and he told him to F off twice. That's what I believe this is referring to here. It's not that he's done anything nefarious. It's just the fact that people are getting to a point where they're sick and tired of no accountability, and that they feel like the president's actually protecting these people for some unknown reason. That's what my interpretation of this is. And again, to back that up is the situation where he had to flip that guy off and tell him to get, whatever. So that's where I think we're at. This is where, and we're going to show some more here in a minute, of people that have had enough with the president. I've been warning that this was coming, and that the president's listening to the wrong people. He's dragging his feet for some unknown, ungodly reason. But let's move on. We'll talk about it as we go along here.
Well, that is what's next. I just want to say, when you hear beeping, it's because producer Ron has gone through like all different kinds of trouble to make sure that we're a family-friendly show. So this takes a lot of time and effort and energy. We have a great producer here, producer Ron, And so thank you, Producer Ron, for fixing this to where we could air it, because I think it's extremely important. Let's
It's
take a
very
look.
important. Listen very closely to this man's verbiage. Listen.
Yeah, let's listen.
I just watched an interview Trump did about this whole Epstein thing, and he said, quote, "I think it's time for the country to move on to something else." No, bro. No. We brought you in to clean house. We brought you in to bring the noose back. We brought you in to clean the swamp, enter whatever fucking funny saying you want to say. We brought you in to handle shit. No, we're not moving on. We've moved on from anything else. We're not moving on from this shit. Because it's black and white at this point in time. That some people need to. So one of two things is going to happen. You're either complicit with everybody and you wanted to move on because you got some big problems ahead of you, or you're going to do the job that we brought you in to do, which is hang some people. You and Dana can do it in the front yard of the White House before or after the UFC event. We don't much give a fuck. However, if you don't start putting some people in nooses soon, and I mean like soon, it's going to pop off in this country, cuz. It's going to pop off in this country because there are a lot of people like me that just don't give a fuck anymore. You're taxing us to death. We're done. You understand that? There's a lot of people like me that love life. We love living. We love being alive. We love our children. We love our family. But at the end of the day, the route that we're going, we're already slaves. You think we want to let our kids be even more indentured servants to you in D.C.? And you can call me crazy. You can call me whatever the fuck you want. But I know damn well that there are millions upon millions upon millions that think exactly what I'm saying right now. They have no problem going out in a blaze of glory to ensure the next generation isn't the same way that we're by some of you scumbags. I brought you in, Trump, to do a job. You better start doing it.
Okay.
All right. I have put this warning out for over 5-6 years now. Literally. Prophetic warning saying that if they waited too long, the Patriots were going to take matters into their own hands, that when this thing kicks off, they were going to drag dead politicians' bodies through the streets. They were going to drag them out of their homes, drag them out of their offices. I'm going to give this warning again to the president. If you do not act quickly, like this man said, this is going to come to pass, and I don't want to see this come to pass. The problem is Trump is listening to the wrong flipping people. I don't know who he's listening to. He's going by his own agenda. Now, I love the president. Don't get me wrong. This is not an attack President Trump time. I love the president. I support the president. I want him to succeed. I want America to succeed. I want heaven's agenda that God prophesied right here for this man to fulfill. He's not doing it. He's doing other things right now, and he's robbing the people of hope. Let me explain this for a second, what's happening here. When you rob people of hope, you rob them of the will to fight. You've got two classes of people. You've got sheep who are being robbed of hope, because I'm seeing in the comments in here, well, I'm thinking about throwing in the towel. And then you've got sheep dogs, people like myself and like that guy that you see right there in that video, who are going to take matters into their own hands, basically, and they're going to handle this stuff the hard way. And I don't ever want to see that happen. I don't. And he's going to wish to God that if it ever did pop off in this country, he's going to wish to God he would have acted a whole lot sooner, because we got over 100 million gun owners in this country. We have the largest army on the planet in America. And if it ever started, no amount of military is going to stop it. I can tell you that right now. So it's the loss of hope. You heard what he said. We got nothing else left to lose. So
Yeah.
they're gonna burn this thing to the ground if it starts. And that's what I don't want to see. And he's energizing this base, if you will, because he's so out of touch with the American people right now. Him and his family both are, because they're too worried about their own agenda, that they're not listening to the right people. Let's go to scripture real quick. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people cast off restraint, but the one who keeps the Torah teaching is happy. Let's talk about this for a second. The vision refers to the prophetic. So let's read it this way. Where there is no prophetic, the people cast off restraint. Cast off restraint means without the prophet, the people return to idol worship. The same holds true. People say, well, Mark, that has to do with church. It has to do with everything in life. It has to do with leadership, including the presidency. When you surround yourself with witches, warlocks, and wizards, You become that which you surround yourself with. You are the company you keep. This is why he has no true prophets around him right here. It's because where there is no vision, the people cast off restraint and they're returning to idol worship. Well, who's the idol? President Trump. Let's go to one more scripture here. That's Old Testament. Let's go to New Testament. Matthew 24, 11 through 12. I know I'm moving fast here, guys. We've got a lot to cover. Many false prophets will be raised, and they will lead many astray. And because of the increase in lawlessness, the love of many will grow cold. Where are we at in society right now? We have the most lawless society ever in the history of America right now. And this president keeps pointing fingers at Obama, and he keeps pointing fingers at Biden. They're not in office. It's not their problem. It's your problem, Mr. President, to clean it up. That's why we put you in there. I say that with all due respect. It is his problem to clean up, and he's now backing off of this and retracting everything. But many false prophets will be raised, and they will lead many astray, and because of the increase of laws, the love of many will go cold. Is this why there's no prophets around the president? Because they don't want the true prophet of God having the president's ear, because they know it will bring back law and order.
Yeah. I wrote down too, he talks about taxes. I wrote down indoctrinating and poisoning our children.
Yeah.
Look at what they're doing with this whole walking out of the schools all throughout the United States. There were like 3 or 4 different schools at least that we know of where kids walked out protesting against what President Trump is doing with ICE. And it's like, holy moly.
Right.
I mean, these kids are supposed to be in classroom learning what 2 + 2 equals, because these grades, these scores are in the tank.
Well, everybody's focused on ICE. I've said ICE is a distraction. ICE is not going to clean this up. Everybody's focused on it. The headlines are ICE this, ICE that. ICE is not capable of cleaning this up. Homeland Security is not capable. Border Patrol is not capable of this. This is going to have to be a military action, is what this is going to have to be. So why is he dragging his feet, not declaring the insurrection? I'm sick and tired, Michelle, of hearing people saying, oh, Mark, you just got to understand, we got to wake some people up. We had to wake up with the truth the hard way. Dump the truth on the people, wake them up. And I'm also sick and tired of the nasty comments of people telling me, oh, let Trump cook. Yeah, he's cooking all right. He's cooking America right down the tubes here because he's losing his base, as you just well heard from that one gentleman right there in the video. He's losing his base because they're out of touch with what America wants. They were sick and tired of dealing with Gaza. I understand Venezuela was America first. We had to deal with some of this stuff on an international scale because some of that is America first. A lot of it's not. A lot of it's Nobel Peace Prize garbage. And that's what people are tired of. We want him to come back to American soil and deal with the illegals and clean up this mess and start holding people accountable with this Epstein stuff, or even bigger stuff. The treason that was committed that wasn't even Epstein. We know there's treason that was committed that wasn't even Epstein stuff against our country that needs to be dealt with.
I just wonder. So, we got to talk about both sides here of all of this and just say, but when you're dealing with cognitive dissonance at the level that we have, like when you're watching the kids and listening to some of this nutso stuff that they're doing and the teachers and the indoctrination, we've got our work cut out for us. Our hands are full. And so I just think about that too, though. And like, okay, is there a larger plan? I hear what the guy said. This is and it is what we elected him for. And we're not getting what we elected him for. But I'm just saying, but I also do take a step back and think, well, where is cognitive dissonance in here? And how many people do we have that are still not just not awake, they're just completely poisoned? And I know that people will say, well, in the Q drops, it says 6 to 7% are completely lost and will never be regained. But, this is bad.
Look, I'm for the Q drops. Okay. But Q wasn't correct about everything either. Oh, yeah. Did Mark just say that? Oh, boy, am I going to catch crap for that? There is a Q drop that says no civil war and no civil unrest. Well, how has that worked out for us? Because when Biden was in office, America was burning to the ground. So we've had civil unrest, the likes we've never seen before in this country. And there's more coming if this keeps it up. Yeah. So to me, the cognitive dissonance gets handled by when you drop the hammer and you start rounding some of these people up that are supposed to be accountability. You set the example as a loving father would do to a child by disciplining their child. And now guess what happens? Everyone falls in line. There's no loving discipline.
East Coast Deb says if they disclose these pedophiles, the intelligence agencies can't blackmail them anymore and control them. That's right.
That's right.
And so that's why we've got Bongino and Kash Patel and Bondi allegedly in on this, what we started the show with, talking about the 4 images that were breaking and saying confirmed that these documents have been deleted. And so these are the 3 people that are being implicated. By the way, these are the same 3 people we've been talking about here on the show for months, saying they need to go. Mark, I want to ask you too, with Dan Bongino, he's now gone and he's back to doing a show. And so he's back in the media. And I can't help but wonder about that, just like, Steve Bannon. Yeah. And so you've got these people that are in the media. And I'm just wondering, is he being strategically placed to be able to help with the narrative that needs to be done when Epstein's more stuff's going to come out, or whatever? Right. Do you think that maybe that's why he's no longer in the FBI?
I have no clue why he's not there. I know he's back making his millions here on Rumble, and suppression is probably going to increase now that he's back. Who knows? But look, there's a comment here I want to address if you don't mind.
Sure.
Will you have some patience? It's all in God's timing, not Trump's. Here's where I disagree with you guys, okay? And we're going to disagree with this because the simple fact is Trump brags constantly he can pull the trigger anytime he wants. That's not God's timing. That's man's timing. So it's Trump's agenda. And you got to understand something. We've been doing this for 9 years now, and a lot of this has still not been fixed. Look at the electoral process. If we'd have fixed the electoral process the first time, we wouldn't have gone through the 4 years of Biden. Now we're here. Now we're finally starting to just touch on the electoral process. And what are we, 8 months away from the election?
Midterms.
So talking about wait till the 11th hour. So no, this is not God's. Some of this is not God's timing, guys.
All right. There was a truth post that grabbed my attention where somebody actually, her name is Marie Warden. She actually tagged you in here. So Marie says the economy flourishing will mean nothing if America is taken down by Islam, illegal immigration, child trafficking, abortion, voter ID fraud. We have to have justice and honor in God, and honor God in our legislation.
That's right. That's right. So if America's taken over by Islam, is that God's timing, guys? Or is that man's timing? So illegal immigration should be the number 1 thing being taken care of. The number 2 thing I've said all along should be the chemtrails, the food, the water that we and all that. None of that's being taken care of. None of it, as far as that is concerned. The chemtrails, the illegal immigration is the takeover is Islam. We're going to show some stuff about Islam here in a minute. But when you have the daughter-in-law of the president who has joined forces with Islam and is doing an album and a song with a rapper, Muslim rapper, you are now condoning Islam in America. This is the problem with what's going on.
Yeah, let's show the video, Mark, because people may not have seen last week's show. Okay, so this rapper's name was Ali Muhammad Ramadan.
Yeah, I can't even watch it. I get so upset. If I was Eric, I'd be so angry. I mean, literally,
what grabbed my attention.
Again, this is a representation of the Trump administration pushing Islam when we're supposed to be pushing it out of here.
Okay. J.D. Vance has some very concerning comments. It's the verbiage that he says repeatedly. Let's take a listen to this interview that he has here. It's crazy.
What's happening culturally in Europe? What's their crackdowns on free speech? They just look less and less like we do.
Yeah.
And there's a real question about whether there's a massive shift happening now in terms of world alliances long term.
Well, it's definitely, I think, a new world order. I think the president has sought to it. There's a new world order in trade. There's a new world order in globalization and the way that we invest in our economy versus, foreign supply chains. There's a new world order, and that the president is willing to shake up some old alliance structures. I mean, NATO, I think, is much different because of the president's leadership than it was 10 years ago. It was sort of coasting. It was effectively a protectorate of the United States of America. Obviously, you saw what happened in Venezuela. So, yeah, the president is putting a stamp on world history, but fundamentally in an America First way. Like
4 times in 30 seconds there, he mentions New World Order. Look, this bothers me. I mean, this should be bothering every man, woman, and child right here. I mean, again, we're not here to attack the president. We're not here to attack his family. We're simply giving people the facts that if you don't return to God and bring the prophet and the prophetic back to the office that he needs to be in and have the president's ear, this is where we end up, guys. This is not God's timing. This is man's timing. This is not God's agenda. You really think what Laura's doing is God's agenda? Do you really think what he's saying right there is God's agenda? No, it is man's agenda. This is where Trump has gotten off track. You are the company you keep. Look, you ask any undercover person who's been undercover for years. I'm not talking about just a regular street cop. I'm talking about someone who goes undercover like for the mafia or the organized crime that does it for months and years on end. They forget who they are. They will even tell you that they even lose sight of who their true identity is. When you're playing games this long, sometimes you can lose your true identity. Trump is losing his identity. I also believe if he's not careful, God's going to remove his anointing. If he's not careful. And I got a feeling we're headed down that road, which is why he's having so many issues right now. And I've been saying for a while that if he doesn't straighten up, something very personal for him's coming. I don't know what that is, but it's like when you look at this, the Trump family, as much as I love them, they've got a hole in their soul they're trying to fill. Just like with that video with Laura. It's like, look at me. I have an album. I'm doing a rap album. Every time Trump puts out a statement, it's look at me. Look what I've done. Me, myself, and I. It's not what the Lord Jesus Christ has done. There's no glory going to the Lord. It's hard for God to honor something when you're puffing yourself up and you're drawing attention to you and you're not keeping your campaign promises of America first. It's the Trump family first. And that's the way people are perceiving this, which is why you're seeing video after video of like the gentleman we saw. They're sick and tired of it. So if this thing pops off in America, Trump's got nobody to blame but himself.
Okay, so all excellent points on YouTube. We got a viewer that says, hasn't Trump lost God's anointing already?
That's not for me to say, honestly, but I am seeing signs of the fact that he does not have control over America. He does not. And I have said that multiple times. We do not have control of law and order in this country. He has no control over it. Why he's not getting control over it, because he could do it with the snap of a finger, I have no clue.
All right. Next one is the military is the only way. This concerns me.
Yeah.
Because I have spoken to many trafficking survivors who have said, I've spent more time on military jets flying around the country or even internationally in some instances, and they'll tell me there's no way that the military is the way. Now, who knows? They only know what they know, and they only experienced what they experienced. But I'm just telling you, that's what I continue to hear over and over and over from trafficking survivors who have been with these people and around these people, the evil ones. And so let's see here. I just saw a video. I wanted to ask you about this. It's a good reminder. Thank you, Pam. So she says, I just saw a video of Trump stating that he is the only one that he is only going to send ICE in where he's been invited. I thought it was a little bit different. So what does this even mean?
And they have to say, please.
Yes. And so what is that about? I thank you, Pam, for mentioning that. I totally forgot about it.
Why? Look, again, put politics aside. It's the American safety at point. Look, we had another semi hit and kill a family again within the last week. Again. So again, you want to talk about God's timing. People want to sit there and say, oh, we just have some patience. It's God's timing. Eat your popcorn and enjoy the show. Well, that's because your family hasn't directly been affected by it. If one of these illegals kills your family, you're going to be screaming from the rooftops, why hasn't something been done? It's only when people get personally affected that they start moving into action.
So I watched the other day a video, and a guy was on a ramp trying to get onto the interstate. Did you see this video? And a tractor trailer is coming up the wrong way.
Yeah.
And so he has to get over off the road so the tractor trailer can come up. He is kidding. I don't even know how it's possible to do that. And so, but he was trying to get onto the interstate and was like, dude, what are you doing? And he was recording it, and you can hear him yelling at this guy. Of course, the guy can't hear him. The truck driver can't, or semi truck driver, but it was insane. Like, what is going on with our truck drivers?
Look, it's not safe to be on the roads. You still cannot afford groceries. Gas prices are starting to come down in some spots, but my wife just went to Walmart, didn't hardly buy anything. $250.
And then
we got the Melania film. There you go.
Where is this fixing gas prices?
How is this fixing America, folks? To see her walking around in her $20,000, $30,000 dresses or $10,000 shoes, her lifestyle. Look, I'm not slamming her. I'm just saying this is how out of touch that the Trump family is with America right now. People don't want to see this. They don't care. And look at this. What is this representing, guys? This is not good. I don't know. I'll let you guys decide on this. I'll let you judge this picture.
This is concerning. Okay. This looks, I'm seeing the one eye symbolism. And
I'll let the people decide.
Mm-hmm. Whatever happened. So I get annoyed. I'm getting annoyed here lately because, like, over the weekend, one of my sons sent me a video. Okay. And I go to watch it. They don't send me videos very often. So I go to watch it, and it's a TikTok video, and I'm completely banned to the point that it's not even that I have lost my account or that I can't post. I can't even watch a TikTok video, Mark. But yet pedophiles are online just fine and no problems. And doctors who are lying about what the flu shot does, no problem. You can be on all you want. But yet, for me telling the truth, I can't even watch a TikTok video. What happened to the promises and the executive order that President Trump signed saying that we weren't going to have this censorship anymore?
Right. So he signs an executive order, but yet I'm still stuck over a year and a half at the same 28,800 people that I've had on Truth Social. Devin Nunes, to me, is from wherever. I'm not even going to say where he's from. But this guy is running Truth Social. There's influence, I've been told, by certain individuals. Flynn, Kash Patel have all this influence over there. You got Bongino, who censored us on Parler back in the day. He's running Rumble. So you tell me what's going on. Why is it that these guys are censoring? There is no such thing as a free speech platform anymore. I can't, if I went to Parler, I had like 4 likes. I had 70,000 people. I go to Gab's the same way. I had 60,000. I get maybe 2 likes on something that I put out.
It's censored.
I'm getting literally, they are ripping people away from me on Telegram as we speak right now. It's almost 100 people a week I'm getting ripped from me on Telegram. So what happened to, this is where I'm telling you, he has no control. There's no control. So I don't understand what's going on. He signs an executive order. It's got no teeth. Nothing happens.
Yeah. Same thing happened to me on X too, where I can post something and, got 12,500 followers and I might have 7 or 8 likes. Like something's wrong. But then on Facebook, I can post the stupidest thing or whatever, and I get 700 likes. So it's just in the same amount of followers. So something's off, and there's definitely censorship happening, and it's very frustrating.
Big time.
Very frustrating. So it doesn't make sense. Okay. So what exactly did presidents?
Wait, I'm sorry. There was a point I wanted to make. I knew there was something. Thank you, Lord, for bringing that back. Okay. Sorry. Look, I want to put it this way. When it comes to numbers, people say, well, Mark, you're wanting the views because of this or you're for this, that, and the other. There's 2 groups of people, and the one group is very few, like myself. You have groups of people who want the views for their own glory, for their money, for the status, and for their stage, per se, right? Mm-hmm. And they get millions of people, this, that, and the other. And then you have people like myself who are not in it for anything except for to save people. And I want to put it like this. People say, well, numbers really aren't a big deal because, God will get it to who it needs to go to. Well, does that mean that I roll over and I don't fight for those views? Because here's how it works. If I roll up to a building fire as a lieutenant, and me and my guys go in, and there's 50 people in that building, and I go in and I pull 10 people out. I go back in to get the next 40, but yet someone with a higher authority stands there and says, stop, you can't go in and get those 40. And I go, why not? That's our job to go in and get them, to rescue these people. Sorry, we have the authority to stop you. You can't go in. Roof collapses. They burn to death. I just lost 40 people because someone with a higher authority says you can't go in and get them. That's my mentality, is a rescue mentality. So yes, the views do count, because to me, it's rescuing people. It's because if I was making money doing this, then people could point a finger at me. I don't make a dime doing this at all. And so it's not about the views for a platform. It is about rescue mentality. It is about going in and rescuing people with the truth. But you've got a higher authority under Trump somewhere saying, stop, you guys can't say the truth. You're speaking too much truth, and they're censoring the living fire out of us.
I think sometimes even on X, it's not necessarily Elon Musk or even his directive. Sometimes I wonder if it's just the people that work there that have the authority, and so
need to be going to jail, because that does that not go against our First Amendment right?
Yeah. Absolutely. It should be at the very least fired, but it's insane. But it happens all the time. And so
again, unless you drop the hammer as a loving father and start disciplining people and sending people to prison over that kind of stuff, it's going to continue.
Yeah.
But Trump refuses to do what needs to be done. Look, he even said the other day, well, I don't really want to see people hurt. I understand you got to stay neutral when it comes to that, but you're going to have to start busting heads to get law and order back in this country. That's all there is to it.
All right. Let's move on. We got a lot to cover still. So the next one is, I did see where someone was asking about, here it is. It was announced that within a year we would have this isn't it, but we'll talk about it too, that we would have an American sovereign wealth fund from cash rolling in from the tariffs. Where is it? Yes, exactly. Where is it? And so I see things getting worse. My eyes over the last week I've been horrified to see how many kids are walking out of class that can barely speak and put 3 words together, and certainly got horrible math grades. And so, we know nationally we're so far behind other countries, and they're walking the streets talking about, well, we're giving a voice to those that don't have a voice. Well, I tell you what, let's talk about abortion. Let's talk about that. You don't hear anybody talking about that. You don't hear anything about that at all. But you talk about the illegals. Yeah, but
he's
don't talk about
on some of that.
What'd you say?
He's backtracked on some of the abortion stuff. I can just go over the Arizona stuff alone. What he did out there in Arizona, him and Carrie Lake. So they had it illegal until him and Carrie Lake stepped in. And then all of a sudden, now they can have abortion up to 15 weeks. Well, guess what, guys? That blood is on Trump's and Carrie Lake's hands. Hate to say it.
All right. Here's the one. Is there a bill to be voted on tomorrow in Florida giving farmers and processed food companies to power to stop any? Okay, so there's the video. Producer Ron does have it. Let's bring it through that we had for today. Let's talk about it while I've read this. Let's look.
So this is nothing new for Pennsylvania. As far as geoengineering, it was popular underneath the administration of John F. Kennedy back in the early 60s, and it was a big deal. Many states have recognized programs out west in the drier states. I think it's at least 9 different states have public programs where they alter the weather through cloud seeding and other methods.
Nah, this isn't it. This isn't the video. All right, so
that's important too, because he's talking about chemtrails finally.
Yeah. Okay. So state of Florida, SB 290, gag order, no criticizing. I guess it's like, what is it called? The regenerative farming, and you're not supposed to be able to criticize any kind of sod growing or anything.
You can't criticize anything growing any type of crop, I think, but kind of like the chemtrail type thing or poisoning or anything like that. There's a lot to it that this guy goes into. And so that's coming up for a vote tomorrow here, I think, in the state of Florida. They could actually, you could probably get criminal charges.
What are you doing down in Florida?
Well, here we go again
with
the censorship. They're trying to censor America.
I mean, we have the right to be able to talk freely and say what we want to say.
Look, while everyone's focused on certain things, while everyone's sitting back saying, eat your popcorn and enjoy the show, or this is not God's timing, or just be patient, or whatever the case may be, they're putting a surveillance state in operation through AI, Palantir, and all of these different things. And everybody's just sitting back here going, oh, just letting it happen. And nobody wants to call it out. But when you do call it out, they say, oh, well, you're attacking Trump. Why are we putting this stuff in place to begin with? They're making every excuse in the book to put this stuff into place where they can surveil everything that we do.
Well, I've said for a long time, they know when you're going to be at the dentist tomorrow at 2:00. You know,
yeah.
there isn't any kind of a secret about that. All right. What exactly did Presidents Obama and Clinton have to say when it came to illegal aliens in the United States? Let's take a look.
Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws.
Even as we are a nation of immigrants, we're also a nation of laws. Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable, especially those who may be dangerous. When I took office, I committed to fixing this broken immigration system, and I began by doing what I could to secure our borders. But today, our immigration system is broken, and everybody knows it. There are actions I have the legal authority to take as president. Tonight, I'm announcing those actions. We'll build on our progress at the border with additional resources for our law enforcement personnel, so that they can stem the flow of illegal crossings and speed the return of those who do cross over. If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. We expect people who live in this country to play by the rules. We expect that those who cut the line will not be unfairly rewarded. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century. And to those members of Congress who question my authority to make our immigration system work better, question my authority, question my authority, question my authority, question my authority, or question the wisdom of me acting where Congress has failed, I have one answer. Pass a bill.
Mark?
Unbelievable. Again, I can't sit here and point the finger at Obama and Biden. The problem, they're not in office. This is President Trump's problem. Yes, they caused the problem, but he's in office. He is the one that has to handle this, unfortunately.
Yeah, but when I see this video, what it says to me is right now the left is throwing a big stink about ICE, right?
Right.
And so when they speak out of both sides of their mouths, you know, and so you got all these brainwashed kids walking around all upset and tore up over nothing.
It's a distraction.
It is a distraction, and it's indoctrination. It's a very big concern of mine, because how are you going to undo the indoctrination of these children when you've got hundreds of kids that are 16 and 17? These are high school kids and middle school kids that they're doing this stuff with.
Right.
It's parents can't undo that stuff at some point.
Now, they're going to need deliverance at some point. Who's going to do that? The church?
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. President Trump torches the spoiled U.S. Olympic athlete who whined that it was hard to represent America due to ICE crackdowns. This is what I'm talking about. So they're acting like this whole thing with ICE and trying to get illegals out of the country is a new thing, but yet they're speaking out of both sides of their mouth. And a lot of kids don't know the history. They don't know things. They haven't seen the things like what we just showed. They don't know that Obama spoke and supposedly worked against it. Now, that's a whole nother thing. I don't believe he did personally, other than put kids in cages and then they tried to claim that was under Trump when it was really under Obama. Remember that whole fiasco?
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, and I believe that children were being trafficked at that time and also being abused at that time. And so, yeah, it's not good. The next thing is during the opening ceremony of the Olympics. Let's look at this. This is a satanic symbolism. So it says a clearly visible upside down pentagram at the opening ceremony of the Olympics. Now, I didn't watch the Olympics. I know that he was truthing about what the Olympian said. But anyways, and so as if we needed more proof that this world is run by Satan and his minions, this doesn't look like the Winter Olympics. It looks like a scene from hell. This is from the opening ceremonies.
Any Olympian who runs their mouth negatively against America should have the American flag stripped from them, and they should be removed immediately from the American team. You're not not a representative of this country.
Yeah, it's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace
to
run your mouth on a national stage like that against your own country. And it's disgusting. It's just absolutely disgusting. Okay, the next one is, I saw this and I wondered, it made me think of you as well. So, Mark, Justice Samuel Alito just made a move that is fueling midterm retirement rumors. Now, if memory serves me right, didn't you, 10 years ago prophesy that President Trump would pick a number of, what was the number, like 3?
Five.
Five. How many has he picked so far?
I believe 3.
So this would be number 4, just Supreme Court members. Okay. All right. Let's keep an eye on this, guys. This is something for us to keep an eye on. But wanted to point it out. Just want to point it out. Got a viewer email right before we went live today. I want to read to you. Mark, I told you I would read it on the air and that you could hear it then. So it says, hello, Michelle. I have been looking into a couple of large name ministries like Steve Schultz and Elijah Streams and Johnny Enlow. Their 990 tax forms are open to the public. It is interesting that their wives serve on the board's secretary, and I guess there are secretary positions on the boards, and are paid. These ministries bring in millions of dollars a year. Steve Schultz has only 2 people on his board other than his wife and him. This is not recommended, as you should have at least 5. Most organizations discourage 501c3s from operating this way. It can create conflicts of interest. I know this as I sat on a board of a large association in which I discovered embezzlement. We are still working through the process as 2 brothers sat on the executive board. The church has refused to regulate itself, and so God is using outside entities to bring exposure. It may be of interest to your show to do a deep dive into this arena. And so I just want to say to this viewer, I got Mark Taylor on the show. I don't know anybody that talks more about the 501c3s than us. And by the way, you can go to michellemooreshow.com to even get the clergy response team training manual that happens to be 33 pages. If you want to even see about that, that clergy response team was even discussed in the 2-part documentary series that you and Melissa did, right? I want to say that was discussed a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, so if you want to do a deep dive on Steve Schultz, Steve's got more to worry about than that, believe it or not. All those guys do out there. Go to Jay's channel, ATKN. He did a deep dive on that, even the financials on Steve Schultz. So if you want to go there, you can do that. And Jay's the one that went pretty deep on that.
Deep diving.
Yep.
So we'll see about Jason and us a link, and we put it in today's show description so people can find it.
Yep.
Okay, so very interesting information. I thought that I would share that with you. Great email. Thank you so much to the viewer who sent it to me. I found it very interesting.
Yep.
While we're talking about viewers, I do want to discuss this with you. So I had a viewer who emailed me. I should have probably printed it out, but I'm going to give you the gist of it, okay? And you're familiar with this because I called to speak with you about it. And so I think it was last Tuesday morning early, I received an email from a gentleman who said, there's a theory that's been being floated around that President Trump, the real one, the one we voted in, that we were seeing in 2016, is actually not who's in the White House, that it's this whole cabal Trump and this cabal administration that is managing what's going on, like optically. And so, what are your thoughts? Have you and Mark talked about this? And so I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts? How do you reconcile this?
Look, I've heard so many different theories. It's not even funny. I don't care what it is. It's still the office of the president, and it's still giving the perception of stoking the fires of civil war. We just showed the video of that because the Patriots have had enough, and you got to understand, perception is a very, very powerful weapon. So you're giving the perception that nothing's being done. If that's the case, that's a pretty stupid move in my eyes, to be honest with you, because they don't have any clue what they're dealing with. They're dealing with fire right now, and because if they cut loose in this country, it is not going to be good. For gosh sakes, you just had a couple of illegals cut loose on a Texas overpass, shooting into the traffic. And what's going to happen when we start shooting back? There it goes.
Well, I've got something specific that I always go back to, and that is today. What is it? February the 9th, 2026. There are going to be countless children, babies and toddlers and school-age kids that are taken to the pediatrician's offices, and they're going to be given shots that they shouldn't be given.
Yeah.
And we know that it's impacting, it will be a lifelong impact on their health. And so we're not winning until that insanity stops. And look at, even like you're saying, as every day that goes by, we have this indoctrination in the education system of our young children. And so you already have it in the 20-something year olds. And so, you know, it's insane what they're allowing to happen. And so where is the relief? Are we going to be paying taxes on April the 15th?
Well,
has anything changed?
The golden age we're supposed to be moving into, right? By the time we get to the golden age, as fast as he's moving or as slow as he's moving, there's going to be nobody left to enjoy the golden age, folks.
Yeah.
Through the chemtrails, through the poison in the water, the food, the air that we eat. And he's not said zero about any of it. Zero about the health issues that are going on right now. And look, that's one of my pet peeves anyway, is because, again, we get destroyed down here in Florida constantly through the hurricanes, through weather modification, but it's also the food. It's also the vaccines. Cancer is the new pandemic. I have a third family member 3 years in a row that has got cancer. 2 of them have not had the vaccines, folks, but it doesn't matter anymore because the vaccines, thanks to Operation Warp Speed, is affecting even the non-vaccinated through the spike proteins, through the shedding, and this, that, and the other. So you've got the vaccines. You've got the fact that he's out there bragging about 5G. He was the one, he was bragging it. He's the one that pushed it. So now we call you the father of the vaccines. You want us to call you that. Now you want us to call you the father of the 5G. He's bragging that 6G is now coming. So they're basically cooking us on a microwave right now, and nothing's being done to stop it. He won't turn loose RFK Jr. to stop the poisoning of the food. I think if he turned loose RFK Jr., a lot of this stuff would have been over with by now. He's not doing it. Why isn't he not doing it? So, you know, again, and then another question came up. So, but I mean, before I even get to that one, that's my pet peeve right now, is because people are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they know if they wear you down enough to where you're too sick to fight, you can't fight back. And that's what's bothering me about all of this. Nothing's being done to stop this mess. He could literally stop the chemtrails right now if he wanted to. He could literally turn the food around if he wanted to, on its head. Turning the food pyramid upside down, big deal. What has that done for us?
I know. That's what Steve said. I was talking with Steve Jarvis right before the show too, and it was like, oh, tomorrow's going to be crazy.
So, and then somebody else says, okay, here, I keep seeing this popping up in the thing. So let me address this real quick.
Okay.
People keep asking about, what do I think about Trump doing the Day of Dedication of America back to God?
It's rededication.
Oh, rededicating. Okay.
Yeah.
Rededicating it back to God. Okay. We're just going to have to wait and see, folks, honestly, at this point. And because which God is he dedicating it to? Because there are many gods. And even the Satanists will say God. Even the Luciferians will say God. Until I hear the words dedicating this country to the Lord Jesus Christ, then sorry. Because until you identify as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I don't know what to tell you.
Driscoll says, I had to refollow Mark on True Social. I would never unfollow.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get hardly any new followers.
All right. Plano, Texas. Let's take a look at this. What's going on down there?
Come here. Come close. That's fine. Come close. You're scared. It's fine. Hey, get your scared crowd to drag you back. Come on. You're scared and it's fine. You're scared and it's fine. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, Hassan Piker.
Sir, why are you out here demonstrating today?
Because Islam does not in my country. My dad fought these people in Iraq.
How do we stop Islamification in America?
End illegal immigration. That is how they are getting in. Americans who are willing to work, they work for cheaper, so companies hire them instead.
What would you say to President Donald Trump if you could say something to him right now?
If we do not end legal immigration, America as we know it will cease to exist in a matter of decades.
Would you like to explain what happened over there?
Preaching Jesus. The police
they're upset that we're here, you know, and they're over there waving flags that aren't from this country, and they want us to do something. So, but we're not going to because we're better than that.
What do you want to come from this?
I want it to be highlighted. I want more Americans and more Christians to see what's going on before it's too late and we end up like Europe.
Before it's
There
too
you go.
late, before we end up like
Now,
Europe.
Now you take that situation right there. All it would take is one shot to crack off, and that would have been it.
Yep.
It would have kicked off right there. This is why I've said it 100 times. I believe that the Second Amendment patriots have been so conservative because they know that's the case. That if it starts, it's not going to stop. And so again, I go back to: is it God's timing or man's timing? If it cracks off, you're not going to have thousands dead in the streets, guys. You're going to have millions. Because that's how many guns we have in this country. We have the largest army on the planet. I don't ever want to see that happen because we would never recover from that. So again, everybody keeps saying, well, he's not in control. The military is. Nobody's got any proof. Where's the proof?
Oh, people will claim that they have proof and they'll give you arguments for it, but there's not proof. It's just crazy. All right. We keep hearing about Hollywood celebrities selling their souls. Is it true? So we have a gentleman named Omar Gooding. He's an American actor and a comedian, and he shares some of his knowledge about what he has seen. Let's take a look.
Omar Gooding talking about people selling their souls in Hollywood.
Yes. It's a very real thing. It's very spiritual. There's some people don't believe in God, but do believe in the devil. Well, where'd the devil come from? How do you believe in one and not the other? You don't believe evil exists? Will you say sing a prayer in a church and yeah, sure. All right, now we do this devil enchantment and da-da-da-da. No, I ain't doing that. I'm not playing with him. Yeah. You know it's...
You hear what he said? Some people believe in God, but don't believe in the devil. That is a trick from the devil. Because what they believe is Lucifer is God. Atheism is a trick of the devil. Many religions were created by the devil, by demons. They whispered in somebody's ear. They acted like they were an angel, told them different doctrine that went against or contradicted the holy scriptures created by a whole demon. And they just out there worshiping.
So why would he not say, yeah, well, you do all this, I'll give you all the desires of your heart, but I'm going to collect that later. And we see a lot of collections happen. And when it's happening, everybody, oh, I can't believe they did that to them. Well, they made that deal a long time ago, and he's here to collect. I think it's a very real thing. Just me being honest. And it all comes when you try to figure the right turn or the left turn to make or the right path or this and that. Just think about it. Sometimes what you just got to do is you look around the corner. It's the best way to figure out decision making.
All right.
Notice he said even the Luciferians call Lucifer God. So I go back to who are we dedicating this country to, folks? So I don't know. Right now at this point, I'm seeing people in here saying that they don't trust Trump anymore right now. It's like, well, neither do I to a certain point. I'm just praying that God opens his eyes and his ears and he comes back to the path that God has put before him and starts completing the agenda that God has.
Amen. Anything else? Any other final thoughts, Mark?
Just pray for the president, guys. Pray for America, and pray that that the patriots don't get involved because it's fixing to come to a cataclysmic point.
Yeah, I just like to see some progress.
Well, look, if they wanted to buy some time, honestly, all he would have to do is arrest a high-profile figure, whoever that is, doesn't matter, perp walk them on national television to show the American people that you are serious about accountability, and it would buy you some more time if that's what you needed in order to get your ducks in a row to finish the job. But that's not what they're doing.
I don't know. You know, we see so many investigations and all these other things that always end up nowhere. So we'll see what ends up happening. Nowhere. All right. Well, I appreciate you, Mark. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for your final thoughts as well. All right. My goodness, so much going on. I want to remind you that Steve Jarvis is going to be here tomorrow. He is the 5th generation farmer. His wife is a 5th generation dairy farmer, and he is an ex-Maha member. He quit Maha. He shared on here a couple of months ago when he quit. He came on the next day. I asked him to come on and to share with you about why he quit, what was going on. And tomorrow we have some jaw-dropping stuff we're going to cover. Jaw-dropping. Okay. Friday, I received an email I wanted to read to you. It says, so from a viewer who says, what would you recommend for my granddaughter who's 11, who is getting blackheads on her nose? This was a Godly Granny question. And so I'd responded back and said, they've got a number of products. You got the Clarifying Acne Skincare line. You got the Dead Sea Mud, which was just released on Friday. We had a new release, over 30 products. Got a big sale, 20% off your entire order right now. And then also the First Fruits Face and Body Lemon Balm. I thought maybe some people might not know the answer to that. And I wanted to make sure that you knew, especially if you have children or grandchildren that are having problems with acne. On Friday, we released over 30 items. I just want to go back and I want to say something real quick too. So, Mark was talking about that rescue mentality. I have that as well. Obviously, I wasn't a firefighter, but I do have that calling that the Holy Spirit showed me with the sick lady in the bed. And Mark keeps talking about this today, even where he's saying, look, we've got people that are not able to do the things that they're supposed to be doing. They're too sick. They're too this, they got cancer. And so that's happening. And that goes back to the vision that the Holy Spirit gave me. It's been right at 2 years now. And it was a woman in her pajamas and she's in the bed, and I immediately saw the vision and she's in the bed and I knew she was sick. And the Holy Spirit said, see, this is how the enemy works. He'd get you fed up and beat down, or beat down and fed up, I think is the order he said it. And he says, and too sick from the land, the food, the air, and the water. The Holy Spirit said that. From the poison, from the land, the food, the air, and the water. Called out all four: the land, the food, the air, the water. Can you believe that? And so, but I'm going to use you. I'm going to use you to help bring healing to my people, to my children. And so, because what happens, he said, because they're too sick, too beat down, too fed up, all of that, to be able to fulfill the plans and the purposes for which they were created. And so, I think I'd shared recently that I got a revelation about that, about how he was saying, but I'm going to use you to help bring healing to my people, to my children. That was the point. He wasn't saying to everybody. He said to my people, my children. And so what he showed me, the revelation, was the people that aren't his people, that aren't his children, aren't interested in fulfilling their purposes for which they were created, that he created them. And so I thought that was so good. But that's where Godly Granny comes in. And look, I'm going to tell you right now, we have amazing testimonials, almost 1,100 testimonials. Last I looked, might be 1,100. But at the time that I last looked, almost 5 stars. We're at 4.97 with almost 1,100 reviews. That goes to tell you that the products are helping people. And that's what we spend so much time and effort and energy trying to do, is to get you answers and to get you the help that you need. I get questions all the time. The team does. And we're always working hard to make sure that you're getting what you need when you need it. So Friday, we released a number of products, and Eve was here, our Godly Granny formulator on most of our products. I do other products as well, either by myself or with someone else as well. But I hired her to help us with formulations, and she was here to help me with launching another skincare line called the Pretty and Peptide skincare line. We did the ultra concentrated Castile soap, amazing product. And then, of course, the lemon eucalyptus dish soap, amazing product. Went through all of that. The Granny 1000 all-purpose cleaner, amazing product. Magnesium milk baths, we've got those in the purposes with allergy, cold, and sinus, stress relief, headache, migraine remover. And then, of course, everybody loves the oatmeal milk and honey smell. So we've got the bath for that, which will also help with those that have skin issues. The therapeutic massage oils and the purpose lines as well for nighttime. Y'all have loved the idea of the therapeutic massage oils, that's for sure. And the pain poultice, that's amazing. Has an ingredient that comes straight from Israel. And so that took months to get because we were waiting because of the tariffs. And so that's finally released. I approved that back in the spring of last year. It's taken quite a minute. And then we released an entire brand new line of the sheep's milk soaps, bar soaps, and a sample pack with that. And the vanilla papaya smells dreamy. Actually, I have one right here. I have the bar soap, the goat milk bar soap. Smells amazing. But it also came out in a souffle and then a Demerara scrub. And so we released a lot of products, and very excited about it. So we did a sale. We got the sale going through tomorrow night, 11:59 Central Time. So don't forget that. Steve Jarvis is going to be here tomorrow. Very excited about that. There's a lot that we're going to talk about. Sometimes we see headlines and we think, oh, that sounds good. But we're going to say some things tomorrow I think you're going to be a little surprised about. And I've been holding on to something that I haven't been talking about, that tomorrow is going to be the day. And it's going to be a difficult conversation to have for me, but we're going to have it. All right. So I will see you right here next time on the Michelle Moore Show.
There aren't a lot of reasons to use Godly Granny products. There's every reason, because every time you twist or flip a cap on something from Godly Granny, you're voting no to chemicals and yes to common sense, but without all the electronic voting machines. With Godly Granny, there's no toxins, no chemicals, no endocrine disruptors, no cancer-chasing filler. Godly Granny is a small batch, made-to-order, deeply naturopathic wellness brand. Founded on biblical truth, formulated with pure purpose, and handcrafted by saved folks who know that freedom doesn't come from fake lavender and phthalates. Go to godlygranny.com today. Be sure and use the discount code Michelle20 at checkout to receive 20% off your entire order.
Hi, I'm Linda Bamber Olson, the inventor of the Wave Watch, the world's first frequency therapy watch. It features over 1,100 targeted frequencies combined into 150 playlists for ease of use. These sounds are acoustical and they move through your body, through your skin and your bones. You don't necessarily have to hear it. As each frequency goes through, it can be realigning, revitalizing, reconnecting, and even rebalancing your body all the way to the cellular level. So that's why we have so many testimonies for aches, ADD and ADHD, allergies, colds and flu, dental, emotions, headaches, joints, kidney stones, nerves, organs, skin health, swelling, tremors, vagus nerve, and so many more. Use this code for $100 off when you purchase the Wave Watch. Thanks for learning about frequencies, using them, and supporting the Wave Watch.
Hi friends, it's Michelle Moore. And when it comes to protecting your retirement, I believe in taking smart, steady steps. Bank of America analysts call gold the ultimate safe haven, and when it comes to precious metals, I trust Universal Coin and Bullion, the official rare coin and bullion dealer of my show. They have been named the best in their industry both nationally and regionally by leading organizations. Consider a gold IRA, a time-tested way to diversify your portfolio with real tangible assets, which lets you move a portion of your retirement savings into physical gold, helping protect your wealth from inflation, market swings, and economic uncertainty. And Universal Coin and Bullion makes the process easy. From rollovers to delivery, they walk you through every step, even if you have one with another gold company. Protect what you've worked so hard to build from the team that I trust, Universal Coin and Bullion, at 800-321-8700, and make sure to tell them Michelle sent you.
For Michelle's social media links, go to MichelleMooreShow.com.